In the next 10 to 15 minutes, I will tell you everything you need to know about the evaluation contest at Toastmasters, especially how to win the district evaluation contest. Now, of course, it's very important to just give a good evaluation, but when it comes to a contest, what the speaker might find valuable and what the judges will appreciate might differ. Because of that, it's very important to be aware of the judging ballot. So let's look at that first. Now, at the top here, that's where the names go in a vertical way. And then on the left-hand side, you see 4 different categories: analytical quality, recommendations, technique, and summary. Now, the analytical quality is worth up to 40 points. And it means the effectiveness of the evaluation. Did the speaker evaluate strengths and weaknesses of the speaker? Was the whole presentation clear and logical? And also, did the evaluator find specific things that he appreciated, but also some things where he thought the speaker could still improve? Talking about improvements, the recommendations worth 30 points should be positive and specific, not just saying, oh, you could improve your pauses. Tell them at what position they could have improved their pause and how to do so. Tell them, for example, take a deep breath, count till 3 in your head, something along those lines. Next is technique, worth 15 points. Remember to just be nice, be sensitive to the person, don't put them down, show them what they can do and who they can become. And last, but definitely not least, very important, the summary. It's just a 2 to 3 minute speech in evaluation, but it needs a summary. It's 15 points on the judging ballot. Make sure you include it. Now, to get better at the analytical part of an evaluation, it's important to just give a lot of evaluations. And each person, each evaluator has different things that they pay attention to. It's something very personal. All of our evaluations come from our point of view. It's not everybody thought that you did this. I thought that you could have done it that way. So I only partially did the work for you here by analyzing 60 different evaluations that I've given over the last year. Now, these evaluations range from club level icebreakers until world champion speakers. And I grouped my points into 2 categories. There's the blue ones on the left, delivery. And it seems that I like to complement humor, pauses, and excellent acting. And points for improvement that I mention a lot are also acting, either when it's overdone or when I thought there could have been a bit more. And then use of conversations, because I think that's a very strong tool, and portrayal of said conversations. In the green box, there's the content side. I like to complement the choice of words. If there's very flowerful language, I enjoy that a lot. I like it when the speakers use personal anecdotes, when they teach us something about them that I didn't know before. Also, when the choice of topic just really hits me, I like to point that out as well. Now, coming to points for improvement, I often find that the narrative could be streamlined, cutting off bits and pieces here to really focus on that core message. Also, the beginning. Notice that it's a lot stronger when a speaker starts right into the story and not by saying,
hello, my name is this, and I will talk about this, and thank you for the organizers in this and this.
Start right away, and your audience will be way more engaged. Also, showing the struggle is a very strong tool, because the stronger the struggle, the sweeter the success. Now, I just mentioned these few points here, but there's a lot more to go through. They are on my webpage, ebeling-rump.com/eval, and you can download the whole data. I think there's around 60 different points that one could look out for. Now, you learned about the analytical qualities that you could be paying attention to, but one thing to remember, an evaluation is a performance. At the end of the day, all the things that you just saw on the Excel sheet, you should take into consideration when giving your evaluation as well. Switch in the stance, maybe your vocal variety, using some gestures, body movement. That's why I recommend standing up. There's a lot of different things that you can do in your evaluation. Practice what you preach, because also this is a performance. Now, you know the basis of the analytical things, but how do you take those notes? Remember, you have the time during the speech to take notes, and then just 5 minutes afterwards. That's when you could be sent on stage, or that's when your notes are going to be taken away from you. That's why it's very important to take notes in an efficient way. This is how I do it. I divide the paper into 4 different segments. I write the name and the title of the speaker up top, because nothing is worse than forgetting the name of the speaker. In the top left quadrant, I like to write down general information that the speaker mentioned. For example, the name of his family members. Top right, I like to point out the things that I really enjoyed. Bottom left, my points for improvement. And then bottom right, a beginning sentence that I think would fit. Then my structure and maybe a nice sentence at the end to round things off. Now on the right here, you see the notes that I took during the district championship, and these were the winning notes. So it was a speech from Florian about a guy called John, and you see the things that I'm pointing out here are acting, that he used personal anecdotes, that he's a ringmaster of words, that was very scientific and knowledgeable. And points for improvement were that he could, again, streamline his narrative, really show us the struggle, use pauses to create humor, and use holograms to portray conversations. So pretty much the points that we just talked about. And on the right-hand side there, a starting sentence was something like, our minds work in pictures. You were able to paint that picture in my mind. And the ending quote was a speech about John, and the ending quote was from the famous director, John Ford. Now you know how to take notes. Where do you place them? I place mine right next to the camera on a clipboard. That way the distance from camera to notes is as small as possible, and I can have camera contact or eye contact most of the time. Now comes the real secret, the timing. You do not want to get disqualified. Now, a common strategy that people employ is to talk about the positive things until they see the yellow light. They switch, talk about the points for improvement until they see the red light, and then they summarize. This is a horrible idea, and I'm going to show you why. This is the timeline of an evaluation speech. You start on the left, 0 minutes, 0 seconds, and for a whole 2 minutes, you're not going to see a single light, nothing. Until the 2-minute mark, 30 seconds later, yellow light, 30 seconds later, already the red light, 30 seconds later, you would be disqualified. Meaning that all the lights are very squished on one end of this timeline. Do not just depend on the lights, is the essential idea. This is what the common strategy would look like. 2.5 minutes to talk about positives, then just 30 seconds for the points for improvement. So 5 times as much for the positives than for the recommendations, even though recommendations are 30 points. You're probably going to feel that during the evaluation. That's why I drew the yellow mark here, because you're probably going to go over time. And then either have a very short summary, which is going to cost you points, or cut out the summary altogether, which is going to cost you points, or go over time, which will have you disqualified. Here is the idea. Here is the secret. The yellow light strategy. The yellow light is the most important one. The basic idea is go through all your positive points quickly. 60 to 90 seconds. 90 seconds is about the maximum, meaning you need to switch from the positives to the points for improvement while you still have not seen the green light. Switch earlier is the idea. Then you have more time to talk about the recommendations. You could be more specific, which is important on the judging ballot. And if you don't have enough recommendations, you can also add in some more positives during the end of this section. But once you see the yellow light, you should begin to wrap up. You have another 2 sentences maybe, then you're in the middle of the yellow light section, and that's where your summary should start. Do not wait until you see the red light. You should summarize while still in the yellow to have enough time to actually give a nice ending sentence to repeat all your points and give some positive outlook for the speaker. This way, you're not going to get disqualified and you will earn more points because you talked more about the recommendations. You weren't rushed. Maybe you even squeezed in some more positives and had this nice sandwich structure. Overall, it's going to earn you more points. This was a lot of information, so allow me to sum things up. The judging ballot is very important. The 2 key takeaways here are that recommendations make up around 1/3 of the points and that you need a summary, even though it's a very short speech. There are a lot of different analytical aspects that one could look at. It's important to just give more evaluations, watch a lot of different speakers, especially the experienced ones, to learn and see how those principles can be applied to other speeches. I showed you how to take notes efficiently and the yellow light strategy. Now, all of these files can be found on my webpage. You have all the different files here. There is the judging ballot. There is the PowerPoint slides that I just went through with you. And there's also the Excel sheet. That should be it for today. I'm wishing you much success with your evaluations, with your contests. Remember to give the most amount of value that you can to the speakers. Always stay positive, always build them up, and allow them to grow.